Low impact and toning. I did bring my little step out or my RX pad, because that's how I want to get class going. So whether you're using your pillow or your own RX pad or a hardcore authentic step, any of those things you want to put into the equation or not. And I've been bringing this to my training sessions, which I'm surprised that some of the gyms I go into don't have these RX pads, because they're so useful. And I started incorporating some extra balance work with one of my clients, and she'd never been on the RX pad, but she'd done plenty of step patterns with me. So she knew the step patterns, but as soon as we got into being on the RX pad, her whole body, just like, she didn't have control of herself. So it's not an uncommon thing to look at something that looks simple and then have your body respond in a different way that it feels challenged by it. So go to the other side. And sometimes it's the up, up, down, down is a nice, easy pattern. It's when we start traversing over the front of the step and then back that the reverse motion will be more challenging. And so we are going to go into our step overs, and I'm going to end up scooting myself back a little bit. Give me 5 more of your basics. If the basic is just too simple, don't worry about it. We're going to make it harder in a moment, and you get to opt in for how much of a challenge you want. So once you step back, come to a stop, reposition yourself if you need to, right? I find that the pillows and cushions don't stay exactly where you started them. So your step over, even if you're not working on an object, your step over is just a forward step with a repeating rock step. So you can do this minus your pillow. What your body may do, if you had a mirror, it would be really noticeable, right? Because you'd be able to look and see that this other leg is kind of sweeping your object, but really you want it to travel over the top and the back. The body will seek the path of least resistance. So this is the path of least resistance. You have to be in better control to push up and travel forward versus letting the leg be lazy. So here you go. The arms, there is a bit of like an athletic position for them, which is going to seem odd, okay? But if you think about having opposite arm to the forward leg, that would be your proper pattern. Sometimes in this position, it's like you get the same arm going with the front leg, but you really want to be opposite arm pulls forward as the knee is in motion, right? So 5 more and 4, push, pull. Just adding the arms and being precise with it will change the complexity of the motion, right? As you come into your forward step, on your next forward step, see if you can stop when you hit the floor right here. Can you stop? Walk out of it, release, relax. All right. Hopefully you can get started on the next correct leg. I'm already going, which leg am I supposed to be using? Seriously. I think I was here though. No, was I there or was I here? Doesn't matter. This is the problem. My brain forgets, but I'm going to go right leg. It's all going to come back to me if this is right or wrong. Hopefully you've remembered which leg you're supposed to be using. And this is the thing. If you do 20 extra of something on one leg, oh, this is the correct leg. Because remember, I was sweeping my right leg lazily out there. All right, so here you go. If you're not working on a pillow, then try to put your stop into your forward motion. And even those of us working on the pillow, now that I put that extra little bit into the thought process, can you slow your step, your forward step down? Can you slow it down? Give yourself a little pause, right, on both ends of the motion. And can you start factoring in which arm is supposed to be in this precise motion? When I do arms like this, it makes me think of someone who track and field, right? When you see those sprinters come out of the blocks and then they get to their upright position and their arms are really pumping, like the arms generate so much extra force with your motion. So they need to be doing it at the right time. Why is there always rights and wrongs? It's a rhythm thing. You got about 5 more of these, and I want you to start thinking, can you bring yourself to a front step down stop, right? Because you're going to do that in 2 more repetitions, right? The faster we go, this is your last one, push and pause. How stable is the ankle? How, like, are your arms actually, right? Release and relax out of it. I was thinking about a client. You're going to go into whether you've got slidey towels or you're just going to let your feet get into step touch pattern, either or. Okay, I'm going to grab my towels and I'm going to grab my light dumbbells. I want us to do a little bit of shoulder training here, and then you get to decide, you know, how hard do you really want to work yourself? But this is just the beginning. So with your light weights, whether you're doing step touches or your drawdown slide glides, okay? Either way, with or without weights, I want you to just try to take this movement and let your arms float. Is there a right stop point for the upswing? I like to think yes for this one, okay? So as soon as we put weight in our hands, the shoulder, what we're trying to do here, and I'm going to turn to the side just to show you something. It's actually a true clean lateral raise, okay? So that means that we're going to bring the arms down to like mid thigh, and when they pull up, we want them to stop short of being at the true horizontal line. So they're just short. Don't lift so high. But yet what you're trying to get your body to do, all right, is to expand across the front from shoulder to shoulder. So you're in S curve. And I want you to feel like your elbows are lifting. Your hands are coming up, but your elbows, that top side of the elbow is pushing up towards the ceiling, right? So you have to learn the stop zone so that your shoulder blades actually retract and depress while your elbows are doing the lift. This is what makes things complicated, right? So we're not just swinging the arms willy-nilly. 4 more, 4. When your arm lifts, open up across the chest, get your best posture, pull. 1 more, inhale, exhale, push, release, and relax. Just adding the legs and arms together should have given you a smidgen of elevated heart rate. Grab your ball. All right. I used to have a client, and I'm realizing I'm doing now what my client used to do in session. In session, she would get like 15 different stories started. And she would just bounce around between the stories. And like, I really had to stay focused in order to keep the information straight, because sooner or later she would close the story out. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm finding that's precisely what I'm doing now. Get into a rock step. It doesn't matter which leg you start with, but whatever leg you start with, put the ball in the other hand. If you're using a big ball, the same thing is going to happen. You're going to be bouncing your big ball in the opposite side to your forward back rock step leg. If you're using a small ball, slow yourself down, look down, right? On your front step is when I want you to drop catch the ball. Drop catch. Now, what if you're really like all cylinders firing and you're like, there's too much lag time, I want to drop the ball more? Then on both front and back steps, right, you drop the ball forward. Hopefully you're not looking at the screen, you're focusing on your ball. On the big ball bounce, you will be doing more ball bounces than we are drop catches with these other balls, okay? We can move our feet faster in the rock step, right? 5, push. 4, the big ball makes a lot of noise. 3, push. 2, it's been a while since I've done this. It's funny. Release and relax, marching feet, move the ball to the other side, tell yourself other leg, right? Rock and back. All right, opposite hand holding the ball or ball bouncing to the leg that's doing the forward and back step. So here we go. Front step, drop the ball or bounce the ball. Back step, add it in. You might only be able to successfully do one of the ball bounces per repetition. You might not get both of them in, right? Be okay with that. And that is what I thought was going to happen because the patterned rug actually is raised, and I just was trying to not hit part of the raised. So there went my ball, but you got about 5 more. Push, pull. This is the thing. When your little gadget gets away from you, you don't have to stop and go get it. Just keep moving. 4 more. 3, push, pull. 2, last one. So set your ball down, get your pillow back out or your Airx pad. All right. This is part of your balance equation. The rock step with the ball bounce should have just brought your heart rate up just a little bit. All right. I want you to approach your pillow thinking single leg dominance. All right. Start the loading, the transition, go slow because you're going to feel your weight come off of the foot that's on the floor and you're going to start transferring your weight, right? Transfer your weight. How unsteady are you? Go, oh, not too bad. Take your bubble bun, pull it through, draw your shoulders back, right? You're going to straighten your stance leg, pull the belly in, really reactivate your glutes, and now become less reliant on this other leg. You can gently lift the toes. So this other foot, it's still touching the floor. I didn't move it to my Airx pad, right? If your stance leg is soft-kneed, let's go ahead and fully engage, right? Once you engage, then reset the hips and shoulders, right? Become less reliant on the other foot. So much so that I want you to lift the toes from the floor, set the toes back down. Lift the toes. At this point, your body is giving you a lot of awareness, right? You're tuning in to can you just barely lift the toe? Well, I'm going to do a few things, okay? Trying to not throw you off. If need be, just keep your toe on the floor and you fire up through knee extension and tight glute. Okay, because remember that thing, time under tension. We are not wasting time here when I'm caught in a thought. As you try to lift the toes from the floor, the faster the foot has to come back down to the floor to catch you from losing your step, okay? That's your body really trying to fight it. The more time you can spend with the toe off the floor, right? And some of the repetitions might be, oh, I got 2 seconds. And oh, I didn't get anything that time. It's okay that your body doesn't consistently execute repetition after repetition, right? What you are going to try to keep doing is going navel to spine, shoulders down, tight bun, And then at some point, I want you to try to get the foot off the floor, because some of you can. And if you can, and everything is still going fine, draw the leg up. As we draw the leg up, the movement's going to get increasingly more challenging. Maybe you can't do this part. Be okay with the scaled back version of you just lifting the toe and setting it back down, holding 5. If your knee is up, this leg is so active. The bun is tight, everything is working hard. Step out of it. And now you get to go, okay, do I want to challenge my other leg? What if there was no success for you on your pillow or your Eric's pad? And now you're slightly frustrated about, oh, why can't I do that? If that is your thought process right now, then don't use your pillow or your pad for the next leg. Just get into the ground position and try to start there, because that means that the cushion is too advanced for what your skill is. All right, so here we go. Set it up, single leg stance, transition your weight. You're going nice and slow, right? The reason why I have taught myself to go nice and slow when I'm pushing into a single leg stance is I know how easy it is to throw our body out of control. So the slower I move, my adjustments get to be smaller. I want you to think about, I keep calling it like what comes to my mind is like learning how to drive and like overcorrecting. And now I can say learning how to drive a boat and overcorrecting, stiff knee, right? So that's just knee extension. Follow it up with your glute. If you feel like your body is cockeyed, try to square yourself back up, right? Belly to spine, shoulders down, right? And now you're going to do the lifting of the toe and the releasing of it. It's going to teach you a lot. Do you feel your weight really rocking back into the heel and then posting on the big toe? It's okay if you're weeble wobbles. As you get the idea of how controlled you are, you're going to lift the foot and keep it off the floor longer. If this is still too easy for you, then you go ahead and pull your knee up. You might get it at the halfway point and go, oh, that's a whole nother ball game on this leg, right? Then use the toe back down, right? Keep pulling it up if you can, pull it up, pull it up. And as you pull it up, just imagine that there's a harness making you get longer, okay? Pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. I heard you. Yep, here we go. It doesn't have to be nailing it every time. You see how my body is like, it's, I want to say the word is fight, but my body is really in this like work mode, holding for 5, 4, squeeze and activate the right glute, 3, or whichever leg you're standing on, and now dismount. Release and relax. Time to get the heart rate back up. You're putting your ball back into your equation, moving your pillow. So the overcorrecting, okay, what I find funny is when we take the boat out, it's like a plot charter, okay? It keeps track of where we've been. And you can always tell when I've been at the helm because I don't like autopilot. I actually like to steer the boat, except autopilot only lets it go a couple of degrees, right? Because with the waves, it can't be truly straight. When I'm driving the boat, because of the waves, like I'm like overcorrecting so many degrees and then trying to bring it back. And so like my line looks like it's, zigzag. And we just get a funny, Rich and I laugh about that because he puts it on autopilot and I drive the boat. You can always tell when you come back and you see who was driving the boat at what point. So ball or big ball, right? Light jog, moving feet. You might be marching, right? If you're with your big ball, take it to one side. The big ball, just as a point of reference, you're going to be having to bounce faster because it's a rhythm thing. With our small ball, we can only go so fast. So If you are using a small ball, you're going to check in and you're going to see if you're catching the ball with a palm up, or can you palm down snatch the ball. The palm down snatch is a little bit harder. All right. Push. If you are doing the big ball bounce, I want you to use as much force as necessary to get your body from being bent forward. Stand up tall, right? Hit it hard. 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep the legs moving. Switch over to the other side. I don't know how this is going to go. Let me find my big square here. Do the first couple if you're using a small ball. And Peggy, this would be something I think you can do, right, with both arms, if you haven't already decided that for yourself. And if you're ready, turn the palm down, snatch the ball. If you're using your big ball, hit it a little harder, really make your body work. You can increase your foot speed, which should get you to then increase the ball speed. You've got about 5 more. 4, 3, 2, just a little bit more, and release. Though this isn't aggressive, you should feel a noticeable difference in your heart, in your respiratory rate. That's all we're trying to do, is pick it up just a little bit. Okay. Back to your light weights. Little water maybe. Oh my goodness. All right. Think triceps, back of arm, and rear delt. Okay. That's why I want you to have light weights. So how many movements can we link together? I hate to even truly guess, but I'm going to say we're going to link 4 things together. Okay, so we're going to go into a squat, which is going to render us into a forward hip hinge, and then we're going to push back for tricep kickback, and then we're going to follow through with rear delts, but it's all going to be from a bent over position. So here's what it looks like from the side. Feet at least hip width apart for your squat, or you won't get anywhere. This is not just a squat, it's the squat with the deadlift position, right? And then you're following up with tricep kickback, push. As you release the tricep kickback, it's still bent arm and then long arm, and then pull apart, release it down, stand up. How many was that? I consider this like 2 moves: squat to deadlift, push and hold here, chamber the shoulder blades back, because that initiates the row, which then tricep kickback. Chamber it, release it, float it down, up and squeeze. Your squat to deadlift is really important here, right? Shoulder blades pull back, slide the elbows up, extend the arms towards the hip line, rebend the arms, let the hands reach just to the outside of the knees, pull the arms up, down, stand and squeeze. That's 3 of 5, all right? Throw the hips back, your spine's in S curve, you're kind of looking down, stop the body motion, draw the shoulder blades and elbows back, lengthen the arms for kickbacks, rebend the arms, push them, open it up. Last one, come up, big squeeze. Down, row, triceps, release, lats, pull, and up. Good. You're on your tippy toes, prancing, prancing, prancing. Try not to let your heels hit the floor. Push, pull, push, pull. So this is what just came to my mind. Have you ever seen people walking that walk with their arms going like this, right? Like they're really getting somewhere, right? Don't do that. Front, back, front, back, front, back, not across the body, okay? Front, back. I don't know. I hate to be so judgmental, but part of me is, because I'm this is my profession. I'm geared to like look at motion and then go, how does someone, what was it that put what they're doing on their radar to do it, that's the right way? Did their body just morph into this thing where this is the way that they have learned to walk, right? Versus the forward back push. So I hope that if you've got your light weights, that you really are, your arms are bent, because they don't need to be down here, right? They're bent, push, pull, push, pull. Look at your posture when you're like that, right? Is the hand coming across the middle? Don't let your elbow swing, push to the front. Imagine that someone standing behind you, taking your wings, guiding them back. That's your posture right there. Pull your belly in, push, pull, push, pull. The heels never hit the floor. Push, pull, 10. Chin is at neutral. Wow, you like see everything from a whole different position here, right? You're looking out. Don't let the arms come across the body. And release. Triceps again. Go into your deadlift. This time we're staying. You're going to stay in deadlift position, right? Hips are back. If you're starting to feel fatigued, then just sit, take a break for 30 seconds because we'll be done in a moment. Take your shoulders, glide the shoulders away from your jaw. Turn your hands so that your palms are facing the body. Slide the elbows up. If you slide your elbows too high, it rolls your shoulder forward. We want the elbows down and your wings tucked. And then when you extend your arm, it's as if you are trying to just get them hip high. We don't want them above the body line. Let the arms trace the line of the body, not higher, right? So the arms are not going parallel to the floor. They're going, see the slope of the hip? They're lengthened, right? And when you get your arm lengthened, I want you to take your shoulder blades and squeeze them back, and you'll find that you can actually lengthen your arm more, so much so that you'll tighten up that tricep. I'm only using 2 pounds and they're on fire, and it's because my chest is opened and my upper back is retracted. And here we go. 5, 4, 3, push. 2, last one, squeeze, release, relax. Water break. Where do we want to go now? We are going to be walking on our heels, on the outside edges of our feet, on the inside edges of our feet. We're going to do a little bit of training for the feet right now. My triceps are still on fire. It doesn't take much. Doesn't take much at all. Okay. Heel walk. In the heel walk, think of the penguin, right? So the leg may bend a little bit, right? But it's a lot harder if you try not to let the knee give. And that's what's going to turn you into the penguin walk, right? So start walking forward, squeeze the buns. With the toes up, you're in full quad activation, right? Buns, quads, everything's working. 5, 4, 3, 2, relax. Hopefully you're working on your mat or your carpeted space, because now as we take the feet and we roll to the side edges, you can only get so close or my feet won't be in it. But if your ankles are really tight, you'll have a very hard, if the outside of your ankle's tight, you'll have a hard time pulling and keeping the bottom of the foot off the floor. Okay, so you're going to try, just put your eyes on your feet, and you can march in place if you don't have a big space, but start walking forward. The walk forward is like a couple of inches. You're not actually trying to stride, right? So it's still like kind of penguin, couple of inches, only the side edges of the foot touching the floor. And now relax. That should feel like those ankles are doing something, okay? So for this one, it doesn't look so pretty. Feet are apart, bend the legs, look down, try to angle the foot. You might even have to take the foot further than you thought so that you can get the outside edge of the feet from the floor. I like to really bend my legs. There's no pressure in a bad way on my knees here. If you feel it not so good on your knees, then you're just going to have a straighter position, but you're really trying to keep the bottom edge of the foot or the bottom of the foot from touching the floor. So I find spread the feet, bend the legs, forward and back walk. Wow. You talk about some stretching that's happening in the foot that you wouldn't ordinarily know that your feet need. Do they need it? Well, it depends on if you've got weak feet or not, right? We can all use this to our advantage. You're in a squat position, your legs are bent, and now release, relax. Okay, what last thing are you going to do to bring your heart rate up? Are you going to do slidey rags from side to side? Are you going to do twisty rags? I'm going to get my little core twist board out. Do you going to do your hula hoop, your marching feet? Maybe you've got your chair handy and you're like, I just want to do another set of squats, right? I love this core board because one side of the board has the little nubs on it. So it's kind of like a foot sensory thing. If you are on your twisty station, whether towel or board, go ahead and close the knees together, right? Assume your initial squat position. I'm going to turn to the side. So with that, that just means you're in S curve, right? Twist from S. If you're on your towels, twist from S. If you're just twisting on your carpet, probably could do that. Now, push, pull, push, pull. You do not have to stay in super bent legs. You can come up a few because it feels different, right? I feel like I have to work a lot harder with my upper body to get my legs where they need to be when I'm in a more streamlined position. In that squat position, it feels like it has unloaded some of the effort, but in the squat position, I can actually go faster, right? So you decide what you're doing. Push, pull, push, pull. I'm going to change positions, belly to spine. Even in the twisty action, can you draw your navel in? Whew. Start the squat down. Last time, all right? Knees are pushing together. Are you cranking your body more to one side and not coming all the way back around to the other side? It's almost 180 degrees, almost. 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Whew. Wow. Okay, it's time for your chair. I want you to think back extension. Oof, that's kind of scary, right? We know that, well, I hope you know that back extension work is this, pulling up from a lowered position. So when we get over our chair, the movement is going to be very small, right? But still super effective. So we're going to be working buns, hamstrings, lumbar. Right? You want to figure this out. I'm going to give you some pointers, but personally, I know that I need to get my chest over the front edge of my support base. This could be, we could have a ball handy and your feet would be against the wall as a brace and the rest of your body would be draped over the ball. All right. So there is a sweet spot for this position. And I'm going to I'm going to finagle myself. My chair isn't exactly square. It's bigger on the front, right? It's got some, it's angled. So I'm adapting is why you see me moving around. I'm adapting to that, even though this is the chair I always use, right? If you get too far forward, your legs won't be anchored. Here's how, the little nuances. So your torso, right, is enough weight for you to get a couple of inches of motion. So think about this. You're going to lower yourself down, and then without rocking your head up, you're going to keep looking at the floor. You're going to pull your shoulders blades back, squeeze your buns, press the hip bones into your chair, and then try to lift your chest from the floor. You're only going to get like really 2 inches, but we want to get further. How do we go higher? By putting our fingertips on the floor, and at the first point of your stopped lifted position, add the fingers down, use the arms to push you a little bit higher. Now your arms are loaded, and now we soften the elbows so that your torso can come back down. You can leave your fingertips on the floor, let your body come down. Pull the hips down to your surface, squeeze your buns, stiffen up your upper body, start lifting your chest from the floor, and then push the fingers into the floor to get you to your full rise. Soften the elbows, the body descends. Inhale down. Tighten and activate your back body muscles, shoulders out of the ears. Your upper body is lifting, and then the arms push you to your full rise. Everything releases. Inhale. This is your last one. Squeeze the buns, shoulders out of the ears. Start peeling yourself up away from the floor. And now you can't go any further until you assist with your arms. Wow. And relax. And now just slide down. You don't have to put your knees on the floor, but let your legs bend. Let your upper body relax. Let the knees be soft. If your knees touch the floor, that's fine, but you don't have to actually load them. You hanging over your chair, if you can get through the uncomfortable part of having your body mashed down and just let the legs relax, it will give you a nice stretch across your lumbar. If you feel inclined to let your knees have a little bit of weight, relax the feet so they're not pushing, and just feel like your body is getting elongated. Okay? When we do extension work and that rocks our body back, it often feels good to then follow up with like a C curve spine stretch. And now ease yourself back up, take time, be careful, elbow load, push yourself up, getting off the knees, but getting into arm support. So that was your back extension. And now we're going to use the leg weight to give us glute work, glute and hamstring work, actually. So lift the leg. Gosh, this is what I see a lot when I work with people. I see as soon as they start to lift their leg, their upper body collapses, and they may be able to get their leg really high, but it's not straight, nor is the upper body maintaining the integrity of the movement. So you want to push to the wall behind you, and then the leg that is supporting you, push that leg into the floor, right? So one leg to the wall, one leg to the floor, the arms are pressing against the chair, and now you're going to twist your hip. You're going to intentionally open the hip in a cockeyed spine position, and then you're going to square the hips down the other way. Wow. Open it up. This is a version of a movement called airplane, and this is to train your glute medius on the stance leg. As we get more advanced, believe it or not, we won't need the chair to do this, and our body won't be as so far hinged forward. But this is super effective for you to open, 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 twist the head, rotate it the other way, keeping the leg straight, twist. Do one more. Open it up, close it back down, relax the lifted leg. Help yourself up. Walk it around. Grab a drink. That small little muscle in the derriere, like when you hear the word glute, the glute is a big part of your rump, but the glute medius is a very small little part of the rump that has this huge job. Want to know what the job is? The job is to keep the hips from overly swinging. The glute medius is what keeps your body tracking versus gliding from side to side too far. That's why we cannot leave it unattended. We have to keep drilling these things, okay? So set yourself back up. If you were flat palmed for the first set and you felt like it was a little too much force on your wrist, make fists, push your knuckles down, soften the knees. Okay, so here you go. Which leg did you have lifted? Hopefully you can figure it out. If you have a sensation that one leg actually did more work than the other, the leg that feels like it did more work than the other was your standing leg. So that leg is now going to be your lifting leg. Hopefully that didn't confuse you, right? All right, here we go. Lift, because it's when we do the rocking from side to side, it's working the glute medius on the stance leg. So that's going to be the leg that felt like it did more work. So start lifting the leg, take the foot that's in the down position, push it really firm, take the leg that's lifted, push it way back so that it's working to the wall, down and up, shoulders out of the ears, down and up. You do not have to keep your stance leg stiff. When my lifting leg comes down, my stance leg can soften, right? And then as it goes up, I just re-engage to extension. Inhale, soften down. Exhale, fully activate. Inhale, exhale. What I love about this supported, twisted position that we're getting ready to go into is that we are exaggerating, hold the up, we are exaggerating our opened hip line, and then we're drawing our leg down, internally rotating it to the point where it's actually supposed to be, but because our muscles pull it out of whack, when the leg lifts, the hips want to naturally open up wrong. And then when we do the airplane move and rock the hips the other way, that's when the muscle work feels like it's maximized, right? Rotate open, less intensity. Rotate to closed, squared line, fired up, right? Open it up, twist, twist, twist. This is also challenging your balance, I hope. Twist the head, open the foot and knee, twist the head, close the rotation. If you can look back and see your foot back there, you'll see that it's internally rotated. Twist, this is your last one. Open it up, look at the toe, it's twisted. Close it, look at the toe, it's working the correct angle, and release. That is all work for stabilizing of triceps and shoulder depressions, the muscles that run parallel to the spine, the erectors got fired up, your whole lumbar should feel like it's, the feeling is blood flow. It's a fullness back there, but that feeling can also be kind of scary because it really draws your attention to something that just happened back there. It's thick and full of blood. That's what that feeling is. Okay, you're done with your chair. Grab a little drink. We're going to the mat. You may need a little towel, right, for your head support. Ooh, you guys got me working up a sweat here. Now I'm going to use my yoga block, but so if you have a yoga block or an extra little pillow, even your Eric's pad, we're going to be doing some bridges with hip adduction. So I need you to have something that your knees can squeeze. This is just some lukewarm lemon water. What's been happening since I have this early morning client is I've been getting my vinegar water in earlier. And as tired as my body feels when I like get up and go into session, as soon as like everything's fired up and I'm like engaged with thought process and I walk out of session and it's 7 o'clock, I feel so alert and I'm not even doing the workout. so I do know how effective. It's not a lie about, even if you're feeling a little tired, if you go out and do a little bit of exercise, it will change your state of mind. And that's why it's so helpful for people who suffer, like are in, I hate to say depression, but depression and anxiety is really there is a proven component that people who will exercise and get into a pattern of exercise have a much better statistic to feeling that sensation, right, of anxiety and depression subside. It is definitely used for treatment. All right, so here's what you have to decide. How tight can you get your feet pulled back towards your hips? You've got whatever you're going to be squeezing between your knees, already between your knees. Pull the feet back. In your most ideal setup, your fingers would be able to touch your heels. If that's not reasonable for your body, then you're just going to do the very best you can. As far as your neck cushion goes, you only need a little bit of neck cushion when we're in bridge mode, right? So I am using a cushion because of this band for the mic, but ordinarily I wouldn't even need the cushion behind my head. So before we lift our buns, this might be too much like reminding you, but your shoulders may already be kind of curling in. Open them up, even with that meaning that you're probably going to have to manipulate your back. Feel your wings kind of tuck down, which is going to arch your back, but you can fix the arched back once you get your wings tucked down. All right, so now start pulling the lumbar, engaging navel to spine. Your chin is gently drawn, lifting the hips, peeling the buns up from the floor. That's it. The higher you lift, unless you're really flexible, you will be in the wrong back position. So I would rather you focus on zipping up, right? You might even use the hand on your hip bones and go hips to waist. When you feel yourself take your hip bones and you tilt them back towards your waistline, it will shift that pelvic tilt into the right spot. Once you're sure that you're there, reset the arms to palms up. You're just holding. So now you're squeezing something, and I want you to start doing compression squeezes. That's working it. Keep pelvic tilting deeper. Pull the belly in tighter. Pelvic tilt deeper. Every time you tell yourself pelvic tilt deeper and belly button tighter, you actually do have somewhere to go with that. And you'll know that you're getting somewhere with it when you finally feel your hamstrings working, right? So your bridge doesn't have to be high. And now hold the legs tightly against your cushion. Pull the fronts of your shoulders back to the floor. Lift the hips a little bit higher. I swear I'm hearing feedback. Since you guys can't tell me whether or not you're hearing it, we'll have to, I'll have to be asking you after class. So I hope you're starting to feel like, oh, are we almost done with this one? Time under tension. These muscles in the back of your body are really strong, and that's why we're holding them so long, right? Holding 5. I want you to think about how long have you ever caught yourself just seated for like hours? That never really seems odd, right? But then now we're trying to activate this and only hold it for 2 minutes, and that feels like forever, right? Release it. Ah, and down. All right, take your pillow out from between the knees, stretch the legs out. Whew. Are you ready? I haven't done this one for a while. Your arms are going to be anywhere from reaching to the ceiling to stretching over your head. You decide where that space is so you don't have any pain, because we need the arm to be able to move without you feeling a negative sensation in it. All right, so you have liberty. Wherever you don't have pain is where your arms are floating. And now opposite arm to leg. I'm going to get you started, and then we're going to dial the correct position in. So right now you might just be trying to sweep the leg up and be happy that you're getting your leg off the floor. Okay, but there's so much more to this. With the leg up and the arm coming to the leg, straighten the leg and now pull your low back to the floor and take the other leg, straighten that leg as well, and release. When you lift the leg, pull the low back down to the floor. Try to fully engage your knee extension, because it's not about you reaching your hand to your foot. It's about just connecting the hand with the leg, but you need the leg straight so the quad is doing the work, and release. And it's not just the quad. The action of the leg lifting is really triggering your phenomenal abdominals. Switch. It's not the sensation of what you would get if you were trying to do a sit-up, but this is a very protected core stabilization move. So low back is down, hand to leg, look at your leg, make sure it's straight, switch sides. When my leg is vertical, and I hold it right here, my quad is so fired up that I'm in a load as if I was sitting on a leg extension machine and lifting really heavy weight. That's how I know that those quads, not just the hip flexor, but the quads are hard at work. But you will never feel that if your leg is bent. It's only when you get your leg straight and down. Pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. And these are the things that I attribute to me being able to maintain muscle tone and sculpting for my body. You've got one more each side. So no longer do I sit and do, leg presses, leg extensions, hamstring curls. I use these classes, and I'm so connected to firing up the muscle that I no longer have to load my body with extra weight. And yet when I look at my leg, I can see definition of my quad, the inside, my hamstring, my calves, and it's because I'm mind to muscle. Roll to your side. I know how to fire up the muscle, and I don't rely on any one machine to give me something. If I used machine and extra weight and increased my consumption of calories, I could add muscle density in my body, but I don't want any more density. I'm stable and I feel like I'm in a good position with myself. Hopefully you just felt your quads. I'm going to give myself a stretch, and I'm going to get you into stretch mode too, but you may need your strap. But first, I want you to sit here for a second, twist your body towards your mat, right? Walk yourself forward, just a little stretch. Now, the back arm, that's your brace arm, okay? So let that arm brace you, and then let the other arm just slide forward. I'm not just going forward, I'm kind of reaching out diagonally to increase the stretch. That should feel really good. Slide back. Okay, think about your quad stretch. If you come to your elbow, can you get your hand to your foot? Can you rock the leg back? That's all that's needed for the quadricep stretch. This is a modified stretch. Are we like collapsing down, or can you prop yourself up a little bit? Your ability to navigate your hands to your toes, right? If you can't get your ankle, foot, we're just trying to push the knee back and with the leg bent to stretch that front thigh, and push yourself up on your elbow a little bit more. Keep pulling the leg back. Release, other side. So 2 little stretches here, and this is what we finish with. Side sit. Twist your body towards your mat. Start walking the hands forward. You should feel like you have more weight on your trailing arm versus your free forward arm. The lead arm is what I'm calling it. You can come down on that elbow if that feels good to you, and then just let the other arm slide diagonally. Wow. The stretch should feel good. It might feel like your hips maybe are fighting it a little bit, but this is really good upper body stretch. Slide yourself back to that trailing arm, right? And now, what does it take to get your foot, your toes? Pull it back. Push into the floor to elongate your spine. See if you can pull the leg back more. Don't worry about getting your foot to your bum. Let your arm, let your elbow go to its extension, and then you rock the leg back. Your whole leg is moving as one unit. If you want more stretch, then you try to close the heel to the butt. But the more important part of the stretch is moving the thigh back. Release. Take a moment on your knees, from knees to downward dog, right? Inhale, start pushing yourself back. Downward dog takes it. Walk the hands back. Say hello to those hamstrings. Bend the legs around the spine. Tuck the chin, rolling up. Finishing with the arms coming up, or at least one arm coming up for inhale. Exhale. You're free to roam. That's actually, hold on, I'm going to get us offline here.